are some of the highlights that you've seen so far? Tell us some of the gems that made you jealous this week.
We were just talking before about an IBM project that we've seen in there. It was sort of news to me. I hadn't seen it previously, but basically involved building a supercomputer to compete on Jeopardy, and I found that fascinating. I mean,
Yeah.
it sort of felt for me perfectly right for the brand too, because I sort of question whether any other brand could have done that. I mean, for starters, just whether they could have even pulled it off. But then, if they could have made it happen and made it feel like it was sort of part of their DNA. But that sort of left me jealous. I mean, it was sort of the fact that it actually won on Jeopardy as well, when there's questions that relate to puns even, and I'm like, I don't know how, I mean, I have enough trouble with Jeopardy, and I'd like to think that I'm kind of not completely stupid, but for a computer to kind of get on there, I think it was a great product demo, really, in the real world. But,
it's interesting. I mean, one of the things that I'm a huge supporter of is Gatorade Replay. And I was glad to see. I remember when it started kicking up last year, and I said I like it, but I like it more if they stick with it, because it's the kind of thing I think creatively we sometimes get tired of our ideas before they're big and famous. And I believe Replay is a 2-decade potential idea, or a forever idea. And I was so glad to see that they've continued to invest in the idea and taking it to further places. And I get teary-eyed when I watch the hockey one now, where the guy, cut his jugular and they couldn't finish the game. And it's just to find those stories and stick with it and tell them. I just think they're taking that idea and building on it. It's great to see them not giving up on it.
I thought it was really nice that they allowed or kind of enabled sort of random people just around the place to activate their own rematches and stuff independently as well, because I think it's kind of freeing it up felt like a really logical step to just sort of go,
and I want to make
get
sure
your old team back together and just do it yourselves, It's kind of a fun.
And I want to make sure we continue to reward ideas that you stick with, because I think a lot of times in this industry you get punished for just continuing to do the same thing, and I think it takes discipline and lack of personal ego to stick with an idea. So I want to make sure we acknowledge that.
David, anything?
Well, David talked about the IBM campaign. It led to a really interesting discussion amongst all of the judges that I was sort of sitting around about what we were actually judging. Because
What is advertising?
Yeah, and it's just we were all incredibly blown away by the idea of Watson in general. Just that idea as an idea. Forget everything else around it. It's what Ray Kurzweil has been talking about for a while. About sentient, machinery becoming sentient, and it's
scary.
We're watching it happening in a case study video, and about advertising. But then there's all of this other work that went into it around it, and one of the things that I loved about that video, at least that stuck to me, was the video talks about we did this, we did that, and I thought, who's we?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, who came up with
Is it the
this
agency
idea?
or the client or both? And I love to think that it's both.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really exciting to me, that it could actually be we as both of us, and that it was, a mix of these creative people coming together to do something really astounding. It's astounding.
Yeah. And it's exciting in these shows too, in this show, because you're starting to see, like, I especially like the category of experiential or innovation. Those are two that are a lot of fun. And I don't know if you guys, how you felt about the book receipts.
Love that.
I think it's such a beautiful idea. It's for
just simple, right?
A bookstore that that I think their target audience are people that not only love to read but want to write, and so you can actually use the receipt. You enter in a story, and if they like it, they publish it on the receipt. So when you get a receipt, you get a little story written by a customer. And talk about like a simple thing that would say, do I go here or here? I know where I'm gonna head next time I'm buying a book.
And it was a bookstore encourering reading and writing,
Yeah.
which is a wonderful big place for a brand to be.
Yeah, it's really
before.
nice. And what an interesting use of a new medium.
Yeah,
There were
there's
two
not
or
a discount
three-
coupon on the back.
Yeah.
There were 2 or 3 campaigns for bookstores that were pretty amazing.
Yeah, lovely.